to the MoxStars podcast. I am Menace, one of your hosts, and I'm here with Flush.
What's up? I feel like we're back to a different iteration of the old energy.
I just felt like screaming, dude. Screaming to the heavens right there. And
sometimes you gotta.
Yeah, this is the show. This is the #1 podcast on the internet for Magic the Gathering and Dr. Pepper. We're the Naughty Boys of Cardboard. That's the name we've got.
The Bad Boys of Bloomburrow.
Woo! Yes, that's
the
us.
big dogs. The big dogs of Bloomburrow.
Hey! You know what? You can catch the big dogs of Bloomburrow at MagicCon this year, at MagicCon Las Vegas. We will be there, and we'll be taking in all of the things that Vegas and MagicCon has to offer. Mostly tacos, pools. The Cabeza tacos really do it for me. What's that place called? The taco joint?
Tacos El Gordo. They have multiple locations in Las Vegas as well as San Diego.
If you're going to MagicCon Vegas, make sure you go to Tacos El Gordo. Place slaps. It's so good. All right. If you're new to the show, if you've never seen this show before, you can find us on YouTube, where if you're watching right now, we have the YouTube homepage here. We just hit 177 subscribers, which is a new record. We've toppled another record. We're surpassing ourselves week by week. You can also find us on all major podcasting platforms, where you can leave us a 5-star review and make us look super duper cool. But we're the Naughty Boys of Cardboard, so how much cooler can we truly get? You can also join our Discord community server, where I've made a few more modifications to the server. If you are unaware, I went through and I created an onboarding process for anybody who joins. And then I added an entire cEDH section where you can post your deck list to the corresponding color and combination, and we'll be having conversations there as well. You could also support us on Patreon. You can become an official Pepperhead for $3 a month, and that gets you one free entry into each of our bi-weekly giveaways, which this week is a massive giveaway. And then you can also support us by becoming a Cherry Vanilla Pepperhead, like Will Rule, K Mr. K, UWP Quirt, and Demon82, where you'll get 2 free entries into each of our bi-weekly giveaways. And without further ado, we're doing our giveaway. I gotta reach and grab it. So this is a big one. Are you ready for this, Flash?
I'm so ready.
We are giving away an artist, playmat, an artist who has fallen from glory, but still provokes the imagination of those who are unaware. We are giving away a Misty Rainforest Seb McKinnon signed playmat on this week's giveaway. Its value, if you go on eBay and you look at any of these Seb McKinnon playmats, they float around, around $100 for any of them. And so this week, we're giving it away. But the only way for you to enter is by signing up for our Patreon or being a patron already. So everyone who is a patron already, don't you worry. You are already signed up for a chance to win this playmat. But all of you out there who would like a chance at it, it is $3 to become an official Pepperhead, and you could join for a month and ditch. That is totally cool. Or $5 to become a Cherry Vanilla Pepperhead, and you'll get a shout out at each of our episodes, and be super appreciated. You are amazing, all of you Cherry Vanilla Pepperheads out there. Not only will you get the playmat, but you also get a set of tokens and some MoxStars stickers. So, yeah, you might want to get on that. You might want to join the Patreon and support the show so we can get out there on Saturdays and do live tournament coverage. We are also doing weekly surveys now. You can see here, vote for the future of the show, and we've had a couple comments on there. This is where we're doing most of our feedback. This is where a lot of what we're going to use for improving the show will come from. So every week we're going to be doing polls, and as a patron, you'll have a more weighty decision or weighted opinion in those matters. So really looking forward to how this show evolves from that and how we move forward. All right. There was a lot that happened this week. We started Bloomburrow spoilers. Well, Wizards of the Coast started them. We didn't start them. They have not reached out to us yet about doing a spoiler, which it'll be soon. With the way this show is growing, it'll be soon. They'll be knocking on our door any moment. Same with Dr. Pepper.
They'll be begging us to spoil cards for them.
Yeah. Why aren't they already?
We'll be like, no, thanks.
Yeah, we'll only do it for $1,000. I'm sorry.
$1,000 each.
Yes, that might limit our options.
No way. Listen, if they were going to give us $1,000, they'll give us $2,000.
You're right. You're absolutely right. All right, $1,000 it is. But with this set, we started seeing a lot of rares, a lot of mythics.
Hold on. I have a second condition. I want the $1,000 each that we get in small, non-sequential bills, delivered personally by Mark Rosewater.
This is genius. You are circumnavigating any issues that we might come across as far as like someone suspecting us for bank robbery. Correct?
Yeah,
we don't want that suspicion floating around.
I want this operation to go down smooth.
Yeah, and I want it in a briefcase too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A shiny metal briefcase.
Something I can roll to the bank with, and then when I pop it open, there's like gasps. Mm-hmm. People are like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you something else, man. I'm not walking into any room that I don't know how to walk out of. That's just number one.
Or it's got to be two cars meeting without anything around. Like you can see your entire...
If I'm going to do this job, if I'm going to trust Mark Rosewater with this handoff, we need two cars meeting under a bridge at night, next to a river, nothing else around.
I'm captured by the image. Sorry, I thought I was watching a movie for a second. All right.
Oh no, it's not a movie. This is our life. I mean, that's if Wizards wants us to spoil a card for them.
Hey, it'll be eventual. So our life will eventually be a heist / hostage exchange moment that you would expect to see in a cinematic adventure. That's if you go out there and you share this and you say like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more notifications. All right, Bloomburrow.
I feel like we're really dialed in on the Magic the Gathering right now. Like we are on track so far.
You know, every other content creator does a lot of this before they even start playing the game or talking about the game. We are just following suit. You know, like, and the big thing here is that we emote appropriately. Like, there are a lot of people who just start off emoting, and it kind of like makes me feel weird right off the bat. But we're gonna emote appropriately here on the show, and that's how you know we're truly dialed in. Is when you see emotions like this on camera. You're going to have to go to YouTube to check that one out.
It's going to be a mystery to me forever, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, you got to get on there and, check out the floating MoxStars thing behind on the back of the screen.
It's youtube.com?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
www.
And see what happens. Bing.com, entering youtube.com
/MoxStars.
/MoxStars, and let me Bing it. And all right, I am hacked into the mainframe.
Did you say you binged it?
Yeah. Yup.
You use Bing?
Sure did.
Legitimately?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
That I use Ask Jeeves.
I've done that a few times when I was a kid. You know, dial-up
Mm-hmm.
internet. I was like, you know, Jeeves can answer any question. Let's ask him. That was what the TV told me, man.
I gotta say, you ask Jeeves a question, it was somehow worse than the garbage AI responses that we get now.
Yeah. Yeah. You never found anything on Ask Jeeves. It was like a search engine
Nope.
that was like, ask me a question. And it's like, nope. And there's no answer here. All
Yeah.
right. Let's
One of the worst websites.
We're refocusing here on Magic the Gathering. This week, Bloomburrow spoilers have started, and day by day, we get to see a little bit more of the action. Today, we've got Mistbreath Elder. We've got Feather of Flight. We've got a few German cards. But more than anything, we've got some new mechanics and new things to be excited about. Artwork that is truly inspiring and immersive, which has been sort of our feedback of the like in our criticism of the game as of late. But this actually looks and feels like a Magic set, which has me excited. Makes me want to draft this. Here is one of the cards with new mechanics. It is called Season of the Bold, and there is a whole cycle. I'm not sure if we've seen all of the cards from it yet, but Season of the Bold, 5 mana sorcery, 3 and 2 red. It says choose up to 5 paw prints worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once. 1 paw print, create a tapped treasure token. 2 paw prints, exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play them. 3 paw prints. Until the end of your next turn, whenever you cast a spell, Season of the Bold deals 2 damage to up to 1 target creature. These are Magic the Gathering cards. You got me. Like it's almost like you could say you could bring energy back in this case, where you're just like, you gain 5 energy, spend the energy however you see fit. You may choose the same mode more than once. There are no other cards in Standard that deal with energy, and it would be appropriate. It also would bolster other formats. I don't think that you can get much stronger than the cards you've just created in Modern Horizons 3. So, Season of the Bold, this paw print mechanic, I know they want it to be immersive. They want it to like feel unique to the set. But I felt like could have been, or design wise, they could have picked something similar that we already have and tailor it to that mechanic.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this. Like they do this every set now, where they're introducing multiple new keywords. Which I saw, offspring is in this set. I
Yeah.
think there's another new keyword.
Um,
And
Expend.
so yeah, so it just I get it. But it does increase the complexity of the game every new set that you release, which I don't think is the goal. Like they want to increase the power level, they want sets to be mechanically unique and have an identity and stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, what that does to the game is create a cluttering uh, effect of like all of these sort of just so many rules to keep track of, and so many if the if it's not a keyword ability, and if it's not explained in rules text on the card, it can just slow down play in like legacy formats and older formats.
Bloomburrow, really exciting, actually. I wasn't optimistic about it, but now, after seeing all the artwork, seeing all the mechanics, the only thing is like the paw print one has me a little confused, but the rest of it is beautiful. This is a really cool, immersive set that if you've been looking forward to it, you are being rewarded for your interest, because this is going to be a really cool set that's going to be a total blast to play on Arena, and I'm excited to see what else it has to offer. There's a lot of, there's the special guest stuff. We're getting a reprint of Sword of Fire and Ice. We're getting Jace the Mind Sculptor. We're getting, a lot of really cool stuff. Chatterfang is coming back, and a few other planeswalkers as well, depicted as animals. Nissa, who shakes the world, is a frog. So, that being said about Bloomburrow, today we are breaking down RogSi, cEDH breakdown of RogSi, the number 4 deck on EDH Top 16 with 64 Top 16 entries. We have gone through and we have talked about the top 3 decks so far, Blue Farm, Sisay, and Kinnan. So if you would like to check out those episodes, you can find those in the description below. But today we are talking about RogSi, Rograkh, son of Rograkh, and Silas Ren, Seeker Adept. This is Grixis Turbo, and the deck has surpassed Tivit as far as top 16 conversions and continues to create a gap between them. Like we'd said, the conversion rate is growing. The deck is becoming more and more consistent, but for a long time, RogSi, as you'll see in these lists that we're about to highlight, has very much been the same, but there are a few new key cards that have helped it continue to maintain and convert and be competitive in what is an ever-growing game, an ever-growing format in cEDH. So, that's Kinnan. I clicked on Kinnan on accident. Rograkh, Silas Ren. Let's get started with the commanders. Basically, there's one. There are 2, but one is just lending colors. The other one is the true king of this deck. So, Rograkh, son of Rograkh, is a 0 mana. 0 mana, 0/1, first strike, menace, trample with partner, Kobold Warrior. That is the identity of red. And we have Silas Ren, Seeker Adept, 1 blue and a black. That is all you need to know. But it has partners, a partner as well.
Yeah, this card does not come into play in the deck, I think, right?
Yeah, This is completely ignored. So I've seen Silas Ren cast in desperation, this deck gets stopped and then all of a sudden they're facing a big stompy beater from reducing their life total. And that is the only reason that Silas Ren would ever appear in the game is if someone is threatening to kill you via combat damage or lower your life total dramatically. And Silas Ren has Death Touch. So you would just be trying to puff your chest up and say, I have a Death Toucher. Don't swing at me. I will kill your big bad creature. That's it. That's all Silas Ren does. The other aspects of the deck are all built around Rograkh synergies. So this in cEDH is probably the most hellbent glass cannon deck that we've ever seen. Now, there are other decks like it, but none that do it quite as well. The creatures are pretty much figured out. There's not a lot of wiggle room here. A lot of what the deck wants to do exists in the sorceries and instants and in the enchantments. Those are your primary sections where the cards have more weight to them. And the concept here is you want cards, you want mana, and that's it. You are pursuing a Thassa's Oracle line. That is game plan number 1. Game plan number 2 is Underworld Breach into Brain Freeze to mill your opponents out. Now, if game plan number 2 doesn't work, there is no game plan 3. That's how refined the deck is. It is completely focused on these things. Basically, if any of those game plans are stifled, stopped, countered, messed with, someone stuck their finger in your little plan, the deck dies. And doesn't have much to do outside of that. They're going to burn every single card in their hand on turn 2 or 3 and attempt to win. The deck is the definition and the original trendsetter of just press send. Like,
I think it's pretty funny too that like the actual backup plan is to try plan A with your opponent's cards.
yeah, it is. Where like,
Because like it's got Praetor's Grasp, Mnemonic Betrayal. I mean before that with your own cards, it's got Yawgmoth's Will, and then it's got this Apple of Eden Isu Relic, which is another version of just playing your opponent's cards.
yep, here, let me get that artifact up so everyone can see it. Where is it?
I think this is the newest addition to the deck, right? Besides like Necro Dominance, which is just a secondary Necropotence.
Here
But yeah, Apple of Eden Isu Relic, is that from Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, so it turns out Assassin's Creed came out. The set dropped, and I don't know when that happened, but the cards are legal now. I sometime last week. I don't know, question marks. But yeah.
Is this the only card from Assassin's Creed making an impact right now?
At the moment, yeah. Do you want go ahead and read Apple of Eden, let us know what it does?
Sure, it costs 4 to cast. It's a legendary artifact. I think I want to sidetrack here. This card, I think, replaces Conqueror's Flail, which costs 2 to cast and 2 to equip. So about the same mana, right? And what Apple of Eden Isu Relic does, you tap, pay for life, sack it, look at target opponent's hand, and exile those cards face down. You may play those cards this turn, and mana of any type can be spent to cast them until end of turn. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell this way, its owner draws a card. At the beginning of the next end step, return the exiled cards to their owner's hand. Activate only as a sorcery. So it's a pseudo silence or a pseudo play your opponent's Thassa's Oracle or whatever piece you need type card, I'm guessing.
Yeah, this is a card that provides right off, because we're speculating, like this is a deck that like I've played against, I haven't played with, and now we're seeing a completely new card that has now appeared in 2 lists that have both won tournaments. So clearly this has like purpose, but right off the top of my head, it is 4 mana that provides you with dramatic card advantage. Like,
yeah.
Like, and it's not just like a little bit. And I think that when we all read the One Ring, we were like, oh, that's a little bit of card advantage. But it's a lot. Like, it turns into a lot. You know, and over the course of time. This one is more of, for 4 mana, you're getting a bigger burst, you know, of card advantage. And you get to target whoever you want, right? And the idea here is you take someone out of the turn, right? It's almost like Orm's chanting an opponent on your turn. So,
because you don't have white in this deck for the silence effects, Grand Abolishers. The closest thing you have is Defense Grid.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what the deck needs more than anything, because it is just press send. It is incredibly aggressive. It does need those types of effects. So yeah, Defense Grid, this Apple of Eden, Conqueror's Flail, which we'll see in a couple other lists. But
yeah, I think Conqueror's Flail, you just don't have the creature density. And like even your commanders, you don't even care if they're on the board at the point you're making your win attempt.
Right. Yeah. And this one is, you know, you might be giving your opponent's cards. Like what this does, I think, it really depends on how many cards your opponent has in hand, is how many cards you are essentially drawing, but or like getting to look at. But your opponent is also not going to be able to use them. So if you don't use any of the cards that they give you, you are chilling. You're not going to give them any answers, so to speak, from that. And then, or you can wait until after maybe they're holding interaction. Maybe you're able to steal some interaction from somebody, and then like they have no hand. When someone else interacts with you, you're able to use that interaction, and then your opponent draws that one card, and they have to pray that the one card they drew off of that is enough to stop the cards that they've essentially given you or that you've stolen from them. So this is something that is turning out to be, the more I read it, the more I comprehend what it does, the stronger it gets. And in a deck that needs as much protection as it can possibly get, it seems incredible. It seems really freaking strong.
I mean, I think this card is kind of like emblematic of what we were talking about all fair, about how like this deck is pretty solved, and like if a new card is going to make the cut in this list, it needs to do something the deck is already doing and do it better. It needs to be an improved version of a card already in the 98 of the deck, and then it does what you had Conqueror's Flail in there to do, and it does it much better.
Yeah, like for all
Plus
the lists,
it leaks into other things that the deck wants to do.
right. And so this first list that we're looking at on YouTube is called My RogSi List by Esteban MTG. And the thing that you'll notice about across all the lists is that about 90 of these cards are the same. They're like over the course of history. The last list we'll look at, or maybe it's the next list we'll look at. So this list,
I mean, maybe even 95 of the cards are the same across the top 3 lists.
Yeah,
that we're gonna look at.
Yeah, and the list that was edited last edited 2 years ago. It's the oldest list on EDH Top 16's record. Has about 90 cards that are the same as this. There are very few cards that have come out in the last 2 years that have been good enough or have been able to make an impact and improve this deck. It has been basically figured out. The deck wants to use Rograkh for a lot of different reasons, and it really just depends on what card you happen to pick up in your first 7 or you mulligan down. You are hyper focusing Ad Nauseam. Ad Nauseam gives you everything that you could possibly want with this deck, and that is it gives you cards and it gives you free mana. Because if you go down to the artifacts, you'll see Chrome Mox, Lion's Eye Diamond, Lotus Petal, Mana Crypt, Mox Amber, Mox Diamond, Mox Opal, Mana Vault, Soul Ring, Springleaf Drum, Arcane Signet, Grim Monolith, Talisman, Wish Claw, and then we start getting into some bigger things. But essentially, you are playing all the free rocks that you possibly can. You are playing all of the free interaction that you possibly can. Anything that requires a commander to be present, you're playing that because your commander is 0 mana. So let's see. Deflecting Swat gets really good here. Fierce Guardianship is amazing. We just turn your first turn. If your opening hand has Deflecting Swat or Fierce Guardianship, you can save the game from ending. Like that is the power that this deck has. So you play Rograkh and then you sit and you have a free spell. And then there's a new card from Modern Horizons 3 called Flare of Duplication. Now, a lot of these flares require you, in order to cast it for free, requires you to sacrifice a non-token creature of a particular color in order to fire it off. This one is it's the red version, so you have to sacrifice a non-token red creature. Wow. Where would I get one of those? Well, I have one for 0 mana in the command zone, and then it allows you to copy target instant or sorcery, and you can choose new targets for the copy. So a little bit more limited than, let's say, Deflecting Swat, where it allows you to retarget an ability as well. But this one allows you to copy someone else's Ad Nauseam, allows you to copy someone else's counterspell. It allows you to copy... So there's a lot of things out there happening in every single game that this allows you the flexibility to adapt or stop or prevent other things from going on. So another powerful card in addition to what was already happening. I think when we look back on Magic's history, we see that, like, I think historically we can say that Throne of Eldraine was one of the strongest Magic sets that we've ever seen. I just got to say, Wilds of Eldraine contributed just as much, if not more, in the current modern era of Magic than Wilds of Eldraine did. Because Beseech the Mirror is also present in pretty much all of these lists outside of the old one. Beseech the Mirror is here as well, because you can just bargain away, so much and go get whatever you need. You can go get that apple of Eden with Beseech the Mirror, or go get a One Ring, or go get whatever you want. The bargain price is not that hard to pay here with how many free mana rocks you're showing here in the deck, or like a treasure that you might be able to generate or whatever. I love that addition. Let's go on to the next list. The next list is called... what's up?
Let me... sorry, I was just confirming. Let me show you these RogSi lines.
Yeah.
That we're looking at. There we go.
Yeah. So this one's by Doom DG. Another winning deck list. And these are all within... I basically filtered it out so that it would show the last 2 months. So this is another list that has performed and won a tournament in the last 2 months. And so as we go down, we see the only difference they have is they have a left-handed Rograkh versus the right-handed Rograkh from the original artwork. I'm just kidding. They have more stuff. They have a few other things. This deck is featuring a few different wheels, the addition of Time Twister, but the thing that we're seeing across the spectrum of RogSi creativity here is the higher the density of card draw, the higher the density of extra turns, and the higher the density of stealing your opponent's cards, the better the deck seems to do. Praetor's Grasp, Mnemonic Betrayal, present as well. This one has Warrior's Oath and Last Chance, because I think you'll see that when you sit across the table from a RogSi player is that if they get one more turn, they will win the game. And that is their mentality as well. That is exactly how they're thinking about the game. They're like, I just need one more untap and I will get there. And so when you see an extra turn fire off, you wonder if you should use your interaction at that point, or you wonder, do they have it? Can they do it? Does anybody else at the table have interaction? And as you go down, you look through, gosh, we're still seeing, I think all of the cards are basically the same. Again, it's like...
Yeah, no, I mean, so the only big difference here is, besides, let's say, flavor in terms of the sorcery and instant package, which is essentially solved, it plays Grinding Station as an alternate win con.
How did you know what my mouse was hovering over?
Because I'm watching on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I binged it. I found MoxStars. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Grinding Station is like, this is their alternate win con. Like, you love to see it. You love to see like another line of play that, well, can get there. It's like we were talking about, just like hyper pursuing Thassa's Oracle. Both decks are on Demonic Consultation and Tainted Pact. That if you get there and you have that opportunity, most of these RogSi decks will take it. Now, Grinding Station is something that can allow you to survive into the mid game if you play your cards well enough. So, Underworld Breach, Grinding Station, and Lion's Eye Diamond or one of these artifacts will allow you to just mill your entire library until you get to the options that you need. So, you're right. This is a different line in what is essentially the same deck. I think that this deck is, compared to the other one, they have 18 artifacts in the first list. This one has 20. And one of the additions is Paradise Mantle. I'm guessing this is for more consistency as far as like turning on Mox Opal, but then also turning Rograkh into a mana dork to help you get there even quicker. So that's also what Springleaf Drum is for. 1 mana, which is basically for 1 mana you get a rock that taps for any color, which is, well, really good in these particular decks. That's why they're also on things like Rite of Flame and Infernal Plunge, which is basically a dark ritual in this case, where you just play Rograkh, you sack it to Infernal Plunge, and then you shoot out of a cannon and you end up somewhere out on the other end. So very slight, very few differences. The creatures, though, the only difference here is that Phantasmal Image was in the first list, and in the second list, they've opted for Orcish Bowmaster, which is both are great cards, but one is more dockside focused. The other one is more focused on pinning your opponents down, I would say.
Yeah, that is one of your few flex slots, I guess, right?
Yeah, like in the creatures, out of the 6 slots that you have available, that one is the flex slot. You also have Deadly Rollick. I forgot to mention that before, but Deadly Rollick also is available as long as you're able to cast Rograkh right away. The third list, as we move in, is called Lost in Translation by Nevi and Surge. And in this one, it does seem that Rograkh is left-handed in all artworks. Just wanted to clarify that. He's not right-handed in the OG. But we're back into the creatures. 6 creatures again. Bowmasters instead of like Fimage. And then come down into the sorceries. Warrior's Oath is here. Last Chance is here. Extra turns are present. Stealing your cards. Mnemonic Betrayal. Praetor's Grasp. Time Twister. Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Misfortune, which is the only difference between the 2 lists. And then a Windfall as well. They just need to see more cards. That is all they need in RogSi. Going down to the instance, they're at 26. The last deck was at 26, and the deck before it was at 26. The artifacts, they're at 20. This one is not playing the Apple of Eden. It is playing Grinding Station, but instead of Apple of Eden, it is playing Conqueror's Flail. And that is the only difference between the 2 lists. The enchantments, exactly the same. What I forgot to say about the first 2 lists, and maybe this will be a little shocking for you, Flash. They're on 24, or this one's on 23, but like 24 or 23 lands. That kind of scares the shit out of me.
Listen, man, you don't need it to cast your commander, right?
That's true.
You don't necessarily care about casting Silas Ren, which, by the way, I did find a use for Silas Ren in this deck. It's an artifact, so you can bargain Silas Ren.
Oh, you could indeed bargain it. That's a good point.
But yeah, no, really, like, listen, you want 1 land drop, maybe 2 land drops, and all of your other mana is going to come from rituals and from rocks, I think, and you're just going to go for it, and hopefully by going for it, you're starting the chain of events that lets you win right then and there.
Yeah, that's such a good way of putting it, is that you are chaining card to card to card to card in an effort to pursue ad nauseum or a wheel or something that will allow you to see more mana and more cards. I don't even think you even need to have a land in your opening turn if you didn't want to. You could just opt.
Yeah, no, there's definitely playable hands, I think, that playable opening hands that don't include land.
Mox Amber is a land, like for you. Lotus Petal might as well be a land. Chrome Mox is probably considerable to a land. You know, like that's where like these other decks that are playing like all of them are playing Mox Diamond, and that's how you get, that tells you how much this deck respects lands. It absolutely doesn't. It says it would rather discard to possess the artifact, like than have a land. So that being said, when it comes down to looking at the lands, there are a few fetches. There are no utility lands outside of Otawara.
Nope. Listen, the only interesting land in here is Undercity Sewers,
Oh God.
which has typing
The
and enters the
Surveil.
battlefield tapped. It's an island swamp, enters the battlefield tapped. But apparently Surveil 1 is good enough in this deck. This deck that doesn't care about land drops.
Yeah.
Because they're letting this guy come in and tapped.
Information is more important, it seems. So
Yeah.
imagine you draw like when your opening hand has a fetch and you're set on rocks. You have mana to go through your turn. Maybe not get you there, but enough to like get through the turn, and you just fetch, surveil, look and see if the top card is what is going to get you there. If it's not, put it in the grave. That feeds the Underworld Breach. That feeds what you need for like the grinding station maybe, but maybe that 1% difference in the outcome is enough, and most of the time I'm sure it is for this deck, since it is such a glass cannon. That one more card out of the way, or one less card to look at, is all you need. So this third list is very similar. Like we said, all these lists are very similar, which is why I didn't think we might not have as in-depth of a conversation as we might with the other decks as far as like what the options are, because the options here are boiled down. They're completely reduced to pursue Thassa's Oracle as aggressively as you can, and pursue Grinding Station Underworld Breach as aggressively as you can. So as we go into the final list, this is the oldest list on record. It's called RogSi Punt City. So that first tournament that EDH Top 16 recorded back in 2022, we have 7 creatures, a break from the norm. It has Opposition Agent and Notion Thief instead of the Bowmaster or Fimage, but the other 5 creatures are exactly the same. There is no change.
So the Wheel Thief package is old tech. Basically, that has been outclassed.
Yes. Yeah. I think the Bowmaster would have taken it, or would have overtaken it. Like if there was adjustments to this list, or the pilot has made a new list or whatever, I'm sure that the Bowmaster is there in replacement. Just like the deck is still very much on Time Twister, Wheel of Fortune, Wheel of Misfortune, and Windfall. The sorceries are basically the same. The only difference here is they aren't on a Warrior's Oath, probably because it was too expensive at the time. Like before that reprint in Double Masters, Warrior's Oath was like $100. So find different options.
My guy, they are playing Time Twister, and they are pinching pennies
that's true.
by
That's
playing
true.
the unlimited version, the white border. But it is still a $6,600 card.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. Oh God.
So I don't
picked
know
it
if
up.
price is a concern in card choice for this.
Yeah. I mean, proxies too. So yeah, I guess is having free reign here. They just aren't on the sorcery speed extra turns, but they are probably. Yeah, they are indeed on Final Fortune. So this deck, like as we can see over the growth of like 2 years, has grown to value extra turns that much more. Yawgmoth's Will is present in all 4 lists. So is Underworld Breach. So is Rhystic Study. So is Mystic Remora. So is Necropotence. This one has Dress Down, because I think at the time Dress Down had just come out and was starting to make waves. Is that can potentially stop someone from winning the game level of card. So it's here, draws you a card as well. The artifacts, they have 18. you had to eat into one of these categories by including an extra creature, and this is where they've done it. But all the rocks, all the free rocks you can.
Yeah, they also have a high land count.
They do 26 lands. Still the same number of instants, but they have a smaller number of sorceries, which I think is where they ate into their extra turns opportunity. So the lists that existed at Punt City were not, well, they didn't fare well in that meta. The top list I think was 16th or something like that, maybe even lower. And then this list, which the other list had updates like a few days ago, but this list is the oldest one, hasn't been edited, got 34th. So while it did win a game or two, it definitely struggled through its day. And
probably just too many lands. Just kept top decking lands, right?
Yeah,
26 in there.
Got flooded. That's probably what happened. Like they're playing Grim Tutor. I can't remember if any of these other decks are. They are indeed. But yeah, all the other decks are playing Grim Tutor. Any way to get to what you need, I guess. But obviously we've refined down to what works. This is just an example of just showing you like 90 of these cards are the same. Maybe 92. But there is still a pattern. There's still, like, this has been proven to work, that Rograkh just being free is enough to instigate so many strategies, like, and to instigate card draw and mana advantage, and enough to get you to the dub. So Flash, any final thoughts on RogSi?
No, just Silas Ren is probably the worst card in the deck.
Yeah. Yes,
right?
It is. Yeah. And in this old deck, Notion Thief is right behind it, but they didn't have the option of Bowmaster. You know, they had Fimage available, sure, but they didn't have the option of Bowmaster, so it is understandable how they got to this point. But this is a deck that you will see at larger tournaments. Like, I think it's something that even at smaller tournaments, maybe one person is playing it, but that person has been playing this deck for months, if not years, in an attempt to better understand it, to know when the window of opportunity is. And that is probably the biggest takeaway from this, is that while all of these decks have similar cards, every situation in cEDH is different. Like, every moment, every opportunity, the information that is given, all of those things create different scenarios. So with RogSi and the experience necessary to play it, you have to be skilled. You have to be a very skilled pilot to know when to shoot the gap, when to take your shot, and to know how to come out on the other side with a dub. And that...
Yeah, because this deck, you're not interacting with your opponent's board.
No,
like, I'm pretty sure... I would have to look at these lists again. I closed them all out. But, like, I don't think any of them were running even Cyclonic Rift.
No, that's actually a sideboard card. There was, like...
Yeah.
Some people were considering Cyclonic Rift. And
that is how little you care about your opponent's board.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's like this old list was considering Moonsnare Prototype, and I'm like, what are you doing? But yeah, you're right. It's like they don't like considering March of Swirling Mist. Why would you interact with somebody outside of counter spells when it doesn't matter to you? Like, they would rather counter Drannith Magistrate. Oh, well, it doesn't even matter. They are going to get Rograkh down before Drannith Magistrate hits the board. So, unless there is, some outstanding circumstance. So, you're right. They don't care about anything their opponents are doing outside of what happens on the stack. So, it just goes to show you how aggressive this build is, how aggressive it has been for years, and how much skill it takes to know and read situations, in order to make it to, victory lane. But this has been another episode of the MoxStars podcast. Thank you for sticking with us through all of our ramblings and emoting on camera and all of our, breakdown, all of our opinions on RogSi. If you are an experienced RogSi player, be sure to reach out to us in the comments below. Let us know if we missed anything about the deck and how it plays, or lines that you pursue that are a little bit different than the list that we've shown. And as always, stay cool.
Oh, okay.
Stay super duper cool out there, folks. This is the MoxStars podcast. You can find us on YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more notifications. You can also find us join our Discord community server. You can also find us on all major podcasting platforms, where you can leave us, the Naughty Boys of Cardboard, the home of the mid-range mindset, a 5-star review. And make sure to tell your friends about it. Share the show. That's how we grow. And if you would like to enter this week's giveaway, which, if you forgot, is a Seb McKinnon Misty Rainforest playmat, also signed. It is signed. Valued at about $100. You can enter by becoming a patron. For $3 a month, you can become an official Pepperhead, where on Discord, your name will turn Dr. Pepper Red. Or you can become...
Hey, have we talked about our tokens at all this episode?
No, we haven't.
Oh, we should.
Yeah.
They're rad. That's it.
We have tokens.
Tantalizing little tidbit about them. That they're rad.
Yeah, we have tokens. Here is a look in camera at the treasure token. I'll even put up a little graphic with all 5 of the tokens we have available. Each bundle is $10, and you can reach out to us on the Discord server. Probably the best place to do it if you would like a set. But if you'd like to enter to win this playmat, you can do so this time only via Patreon, where you'll get 1 free entry by becoming an official Pepperhead, or you can become a Cherry Vanilla Pepperhead like UWP Quirt, Will Rule, K Mr. K, and DMun82, and you'll get 2 free entries into this week's giveaway. There are limited slots available for the Cherry Vanilla Pepperhead tier, so if you would like a greater chance at winning this playmat, make sure you get to it soon. All right, let's get the heck out of here. I'm all tapped out. This has been another episode of the MoxStars podcast. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the show. Peace.
See ya.